Greetings everyone and welcome back to the Dungeon Inn. I'm the Innkeeper and just recently Wizards announced their final book for 2019. And you know what that means. Time to ride the lightning train of relevancy to views. For those of you who don't know, the book is going to be called Eberron, Rising from the Last War, and it's going to be like a adventure book merged with a campaign setting, merged with like player supplements and monsters. It's a bit of a mishmash of everything. And there's a couple of unusual circumstances surrounding its release that are worth talking about. You see, Eberron already has an official campaign guide. It's called The Wayfinders Guide to Eberron. It was released in late 2018. So when Nathan Stewart announced there would be a new campaign setting in late 2019, Eberron isn't really what a lot of people were hoping for. But maybe I'm just salty because that means this is yet another year where we are not getting a Planescape release. Why, Wizards? Why do you do this to me? You tease me with monsters and classes and sub-races and items. Just give it to me. Enough with all the games. Please. I'll do anything for it. When The Wayfinders Guide to Eberron was first released, it was met with an overwhelming response from fans because it came out of nowhere. Their only real gripe with it was that it was only an online PDF. There was no physical book that went along with it. Although Wizards did assure them that there was going to be a print-on-demand option once all of the mechanics that were in the playtest, which was essentially the release, were finalised. But it seems now that the Wayfinder's Guide was so popular that Wizards decided they were going to do a physical release of the book, which puts them in a bit of an awkward situation. Because now they want to release a full $60 sourcebook for Eberron, but they've already got the Wayfinder's Guide available for a third of that price. They run the risk of re-releasing a book that people have already paid for at 3 times the price. So let's take a look now at Eberron, Rising from the Last War, how it compares to the Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron, and the setting of Eberron itself as a whole, and whether or not it is right for your table. Firstly, while details are still coming out, we do know the book is going to be 320 pages long, or thereabouts, which, for context, is about the same length of the player's handbook and double the length of the Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron. So it's clear that Wizards is putting their all into developing new content for the book so that they can justify the extra price tag. Wizards also seems to be continuing their pattern of releasing a hobby store exclusive special edition cover along with the standard cover, which I'm a fan of, as you can see. And in this case, I need to say thank God because I don't like that standard cover. The standard cover is designed by Ben Oliver, who also did the cover designs for Curse of Strahd and Tomb of Annihilation. Now you see, darlings, this is an excellent cover. The tastefully muted color truly represents Ravenloft as a setting. There are numerous points of interest, with the cards forming a unique visual loop. Monsieur Strahd is detailed, dominating, daddy. This cover builds excellent atmosphere for the tone of the module inside. I shall give it 1 moldy baguette. Oh. You see, darlings, the secret is that all art is trash, and therefore shall be scaled on a score of moldy baguettes. The less you have, the better. Get a real job. Oh, what is with this color scheme? This sickly green and this dull red. There is nothing interesting here, no detail, no layers. The artwork must have layers, darling, layers like onion. This artwork is dull and uninspired. I give it 4 moldy baguettes. Oh. Ugh, who is this woman and why is her face so large? There is nothing in the background, the colors are just plain blue. Where is the energy, the vibrancy? Alfonso Rick over here is the only thing mildly interesting of this piece. Moi has never seen such a bland and uninspired cover. I give it 5 moldy baguettes. Oh. Now this is a work of beauty. The intricate gold detailing, the brilliant oranges and reds of the sun rising over the city. The airship that is iconic to Eberron as a setting is a focal point. Oh, this is an exquisite work worthy of my collection. I give it 1 freshly baked baguette. Now, this may seem like a weird thing to be harping on about because it doesn't really have anything to do with the content of the book, but I genuinely believe that the success of a book depends on its cover. You see, books are like food in that presentation is very important. Someone could just slop some goop in front of you and it could taste delicious, but you'll never give it a shot because it's all gooey and slimy and lumpy and ugh. People very literally do judge a book by its cover.
Escargot and the Oriental spring roll. Knock yourself out.
Okay, so after filming this bit, I saw online just how venomous some of the discussions surrounding the Eberron artwork have become, and considered just cutting the whole thing. Just to be clear, I recognise how hard it is for artists out there and how much work goes into every piece. I do not hold any genuine negativity towards the artist and do not mean this as a slight against him or his work. Don't go at him or Jeremy Crawford or anyone about this because I'm pretty sure they've already been inundated with bitchy complaints. Now apparently this artwork isn't final and it's just being used as a placeholder. There is evidence for that, considering I found this banner for Curse of Strahd that is laid out eerily similar to Rising from the Last War, and that didn't become the final artwork. On that note though, it is probably time we talk about Eberron as a setting. Eberron is unique because it was literally created by fans of Dungeons & Dragons. In 2002, Wizards put out a competition for fans to design the next D&D world, with the winner getting officially published and endorsed in the canon. Keith Baker's Eberron setting was the winner of that competition from over 11,000 entries. A pulp adventure dungeon punk world with a high dose of mundane magic, unique races and lore, and an exciting cinematic feel to its adventures. The Eberron setting is all about making your characters feel like heroes. While settings like the Forgotten Realms have you trawling through an impossibly large world filled with ancient and esoteric lore, Planescape has you asking big questions that challenge your characters' beliefs and ideologies, Eberron is all about crafting a truly epic adventure where your characters are exceptional among the masses. Combat is a big focus in Eberron, with a greater emphasis put on exaggerated descriptions and detailed set pieces than your typical D&D game. The world encourages the use of the variant hero point system in the Dungeon Master's Guide, prompting players to try daring and adventurous things and to help them succeed more than they fail. In Eberron, combat is less like this, and more like this. But despite this, Eberron isn't a simple world of good versus evil like the Forgotten Realms. Its other key influence is post-war intrigue and noir. It is a setting driven by mortal hubris, ambition, greed, jealousy and hatred all run wild, and the villains of the world are rarely of the megalomaniacal kind. Everyone is out to succeed and further themselves, including the players, and so the setting establishes itself firmly in the morally grey area of adventure, where the correct course of action isn't always obvious. Its aesthetic is what you would get if you mixed steampunk technology with D&D magic, creating a new genre called dungeon punk. Eberron has just come out of a massive century-long conflict called the Last War, which has accelerated its technology to include things like a magical lightning train line and elemental-powered airships. Mundane magic is commonplace in Eberron, with many people being able to cast cantrips and simple rituals to help with their day-to-day lives. But true mastery over magic is still rare and often locked behind nobility and bloodlines. The most influential event in the lore of Eberron is undoubtedly the Last War, which the upcoming book is evidently also going to focus on. The world of the Eberron setting is called Corvair, and it used to be united under the kingdom of Galifar, but after the death of their last king, Jero, his heirs started an all-encompassing civil war as each tried to claim succession to the throne. No one emerged from that century of war untouched. Nations fragmented, and to this day, blood feuds still boil. The Last War only ended when the country of Seer, whose queen was the eldest and most legitimate successor to Jero's throne, I kid you not, died. The entire nation of hundreds of thousands of people just straight up died, and no one knows why. Reports say that a veil of mist spread from the country's centre, killing and warping everything it touched with vile, dark magic, and in the course of a single day the entire country was reduced to wasteland. This event was known as the Mourning, and the shock of it brought all the warring countries back to the negotiating table, and together they forged the Treaty of Thronehold, finally putting an end to 100 years of fighting. The once country of Seer, now called the Wasteland, is a barren land of hideous monstrosities and chaotic magic. It's dangerous and volatile, but hidden within it are the remnants of one of the most magically potent societies in the world, not to mention the answer to the mystery of the Mourning. That last point is particularly noteworthy because Keith Baker has said that there will never be a canonical reason for the Mourning. Instead, it is a tool for DMs to use in their campaigns. It is up to them to figure out why the Mourning happened in their version of the world. The world of Eberron we play in is set only 2 years after the establishment of the Treaty of Thronehold, and the world is still on edge, wounds are still open. Tensions from the war still run strong, and many people believe that while the last war was optimistically named, it is only a matter of time until it starts again. The war was the reason for Eberron's rapidly hastened technological advancements, similar to how a century of war led to the Fire Nation creating airships and siege machines in Avatar: The Last Airbender. The war benefited many of the Dragonmark houses, nobility who possess magical crests tied to their race and bloodline that grant them unique and powerful magical abilities. For example, House Juresco dominates the medical trade with its mark of healing, and House Orion has made a fortune through its invention of the lightning rail. Once, the Kingdom of Galifar kept these ambitious and power-hungry houses in check, but since the war their influence has grown so that many believe them now to be more powerful than the kingdoms themselves. The great thing about the Dragon Marks is that they're not just a plot device like they would be in many other settings. Rules for characters possessing a Dragon Mark are going to be finalised in Rising from the Last War, again playing into the idea of your characters being exceptional. That your characters can belong to one of these great and powerful houses is a massive deal. Eberron is also home to a bunch of new and unique races. The Warforged are a race of robotic soldiers created by House Kenneth, who perished during the Morning. After the end of the war and the death of their creators, the Warforged were given autonomy and rights, even if many of them can't comprehend life outside of war. Shifters are humanoids who can shift between their human and more animalistic forms, like a pseudo-werewolf. They cannot fully transform like proper were creatures, but take on aspects of their bestial bloodline, like wolves, bears, big cats, and more. The Kalishtar are humans who long ago merged with ethereal spirits, and share a constant connection to the realm of dreams that haunts them and gives them an uncomfortable, otherworldly aura. Changelings are what you get if you want to play a shapeshifter in D&D, a race of people who can change their face and form at will, and thus have an unrivaled ability to sow discord and confusion. Lastly, Eberron is the home of the Artificer, an intelligence-based class that blends magic and technology into one package. They are inventors and innovators, alchemists and weaponsmiths, and a long-anticipated addition to the game. I've already done a very thorough breakdown of my thoughts on the Artificer playtest, so be sure to check that out if you want to know more, but I don't think it's an understatement to say that this class is the main reason many people are excited for Rising from the Last War. And so without spending 20 minutes going into minute detail on the setting, that is the world of Eberron. It is a truly unique setting, and it's not hard to see why it is beloved by so many people. So a physical release of the setting is very welcome, don't get me wrong. It just remains to be seen whether or not Wizards can win people over with the new content. The good news is, if you're a player and you just want the content relevant to you, the Wayfinders Guide to Eberron will still be available. It's a third of the price and comes with all of the options that a player would want to build a character for the world. The new book then is most likely going to be targeted towards DMs writing for the world, where the new locations and adventures and monsters are going to play an integral part of their campaigns. Oh, one more thing. If you bought Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron on D&D Beyond, then all of your content is automatically going to be updated once Rising from the Last War comes out. Do you want to run an exciting and swashbuckling campaign filled with mystery and intrigue? Do you want an advanced magical world that melds the arcane and technology together? A world of morally grey villains and cinematic set pieces? Then the world of Eberron is waiting for you. Thank you for staying with us here at the Dungeon Inn. I'm the Innkeeper, and if you want to check out more of my content, check out the Innkeeper playlist that I've got set up on our channel. If you want to check out our campaign that we're running at the moment, Divara, you can do that, or really just have a browse. If you really like our content and want to support us on Patreon, please do that. The link is down in the description below. And as always, just a simple like and a subscribe goes a long way to supporting us. Until next time, thanks for watching.